Good evening, everybody. This is Jean from NYC, and I am back with another video. It's nighttime here where I am, but I hope that wherever you are, whether it's nighttime, daytime, sleepy time, fun time, sexy times, or any other time it is, right? I hope you're having a good time. So I'm back with another video, as I said, and this video has been prompted by some comments I have received to my own comments on different videos, in particular Leanna K's videos. If you follow her or if you follow me, you know that I'm always leaving comments and debating with people, most of the time respectfully, sometimes not so much, with people over whatever topic she's talking about on the video. So the biggest topic, the most hot button topic at the moment is, of course, Mortal Kombat and the great costume debate. However, this conversation about the Mortal Kombat great costume debate is really part, of a larger conversation that has been going on for a while now, just about the way that women in video games are depicted in general, right? This conversation, for example, has involved characters such as Ivy Valentine from the Soul series, so it is not limited to just Mortal Kombat. It involves the Soul series, it involves Street Fighter, it involves the depiction of female characters in all video game media, in my opinion, and quite possibly even in all entertainment media. Because the crux of this is, at least to me, is, are women allowed to be sexy? Is it wrong for a woman to have a look that is sexually appealing to the male audience? Is it objectifying or is it empowering? Now, this video isn't really meant to tackle the question of whether it's empowering or whether it's demeaning. This video is more this is more of a response to what I see often in comments. What I will see a lot and sometimes get a lot is the response or the defense that the men have hyper-masculine designs. And this is something I touched on in another video. The men have hyper-masculine designs, but more importantly, the men are not sexualized the way the women are. And that this is the reason why it's okay to have toned down and less, I would just say in general, aesthetically appealing. Right? A cool aesthetic doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. It just has to be visually appealing. And as I've made the argument in other videos, my concern about taking sexy off the table is that you also take interesting off the table in a large part as well. But getting back to my point, a big... not big, but the main crux of the argument is that it's okay for the men to have these hyper masculine designs and to be shirtless, just because it's not meant to be sexually appealing to women. This is the argument, at least the way I perceive it, as it mainly boils down to whenever I see this in videos or have this directed at me, that, well, these designs are not made with women in mind. Excuse me. That they're made more for as a certain feminist would say, for the presumed straight male player. And that since this is more of the male power fantasy than it is a woman's, that this is permissible, that it's okay for the guys to look as they do because it's not sexualizing them. Whereas the women, when they have more sexualized appearances, this is a bad thing because it's somehow demeaning to them. Well, here's something that I want to say, and I want to say hopefully respectfully to those who are of that opinion, because I do believe there are some out there who sincerely mean well with this view. Here's my response to that. I understand, and I even agree, that the general male body type for most characters in video games, regardless of the video game, but in particular fighting games, chiseled muscles, physically strong and powerful, is not primarily designed with women in mind. I understand that. I even admit that and agree with that. However, something that I feel is missed or is overlooked, and perhaps it's because it's usually a man making this argument. At least in my experience, it's usually someone who identifies themselves as male, or according to their screen name, appears to be male, making this argument is that while the male power fantasy, right, of being the greatest warrior, being big and strong, may not be overtly sexual, right, especially from a male perspective, especially from a straight male perspective. Let me explain something. As a woman, as a straight woman who is very attracted to men, while the design may not be overtly sexual to, again, the straight male player, it is inherently sexual to a person like myself. Let me show you a few examples. Excuse me. Hot Ryu, as the skin is called, right? Now, why is Hot Ryu referred to as Hot Ryu? It can't be the clothes, right? The pants are torn, they're dirty, the belt looks like it's seen better days. So what makes this Hot Ryu skin hot? Simple. Its inherent masculine elements. Ryu's powerful arms, his chest, his stomach, the facial hair. This is why I say it's an inherently sexual design, or at least there's an inherent sex appeal, maybe that's a better term, to it. Because to a straight woman, or to a woman who is attracted to men, right? So that would include bisexuals and other types. But to a woman who is attracted to a man, this is very visually appealing, and yes, sexually appealing, because it speaks of strength. It emphasizes and highlights what is uniquely masculine about a guy like Ryu, right? The thick beard, that's inherently masculine. The large arms, the thick pecs. Again, this is an exaggeration, right, of the physical traits that make the male body stand out as different from the female body, and again, the traits that make the male body physically appealing to women who are attracted to men. You see how Ryu's legs are not shown here, right? Because while women do like legs, I mean, I will admit, I'm a woman who likes a nice legs on a man. Legs are not nearly as important to most women as the upper body is. Because this is, again, where just most of that attention is focused. Right? I've seen, strong, powerful men walk past me. Believe me, I'm not looking at their legs. I'm usually looking at the back of their head, sadly. But still, it's not their legs I notice usually. It's the chest, the pecs, the arms, right? And marketers know this, right? You ever seen ads for, men's swimwear or whatnot, right? It's usually a guy who's, again, very fit, right? Very handsome, right? In usually swim trunks or something to that effect. But the emphasis is on the upper body, because they know that's what people who are attracted to men will look at. Let me show you another picture. 1 second. Everybody's favorite live-action Guile, JeanClaude Van Damme, right? One of the biggest action stars of the 1990s. Why was he so popular with the ladies? He's handsome. There's a ruggedness to him. He's incredibly muscular and incredibly masculine. Again, this picture here is emphasizing the hyper-masculinity of both the actor and the character he's playing, right? We see this, strong arm. We see the bicep. Right? So we see he's a strong, powerful, masculine man. Women like this. Women also like Van Damme because he can do the splits. Flexibility is very appealing. But anyway, my point is that, again, we find women who are attracted to men find the masculinity of the male form inherently attractive, inherently sexually appealing. This is why a guy like Van Damme will have a lot of female fans. This is why a skin like Ryu's skin will be labeled hot Ryu, when there's honestly nothing really hot about it aside from his upper body, because his upper body is nice to look at. Let me give you another one that's been very popular with women over the years. Fabio, right? Especially in his youth. Now again, this is appealing to women who are attracted to men because, again, it is hyper masculine in form. He has a sword in hand. Now the body is a little more toned down because it's a real person, but you can see again, right, the shapely pecs, the abs, the arms. The emphasis in his clothing, or lack thereof, is still on the parts where you would look the most. His arms, hence the bicep wrap there, right? His chest is exposed, his hands on the sword. There is an inherently phallic nature to a sword. It's a stabbing weapon. There's a reason why he's holding it. And it's not to stab another dude, at least not overtly. It's a stand-in for something else, let's be honest. And the long, wild hair. Again, women find this appealing and attractive. If we didn't, men like Shawn Michaels, men like Triple H, men like David Lee Roth, when he was younger, wouldn't have got dates. This is what a good chunk of women, I should say, because there is rather no accounting for individual taste, but a lot of women find these particular traits, these particular physical traits on a man, appealing and attractive. That is why Fabio had a career being the male model for romance novels for so long. It's actually a very hyper-masculine design. It's a very hyper-masculine look. And again, hyper-masculinity, the exaggerated traits that make a man look masculine, is what women like. Now, of course, there's things like cultures and whatnot. For example, this may not get over in Japan quite as well, right? Japan has their own, male beauty standard. It's called Bishonen. But even then, some of the ideas are generally the same. For example, many Bishonens have the long, wild hair because, again, it's appealing to women. Some Bishonens will be muscular, some less so, but still, they will have traits that are generally appealing to a female reader or a female audience, even just giving the character this deep masculine voice. For example, I can't believe I'm going to say this in a positive sense, but what Funimation did with their Yu Yu Hakusho dub, right? Kurama was given this exceptionally deep, smooth voice. And guess what? It's very appealing. So again, these are the traits that we women are attracted to. This is what we like to see in our media. And here's the thing. This is perfectly acceptable. People, I don't remember many people complaining about Fabio being a cover model, unless they were jealous that their girl was staring at Fabio more than at them. And I want to be clear, we do have a Fabio-esque character in fighting games. His name is Ken. Right, but he has the same general traits: the long hair, the pretty youthful face, the muscles, although he's wearing a shirt here. But if you ever played Street Fighter, you know how muscular Ken is. All right, so we even have a rough Fabio equivalent in fighting games. And again, no one minds at all, because of this idea of, well, it's not going to appeal to women, or it doesn't mainly appeal to women. Look, just because the character designers are not overtly trying to appeal to a female audience does not mean that women don't find these designs or these looks, whether it be on a character or a real person, appealing. So please, I know that there are guys who mean well, but please stop trying to make this argument that because, well, it's not made for women, that it's okay to allow a character to be hyper-masculine. Which all these examples that I showed of male beauty are. They're hyper-masculine. That's what makes them stand out. That's what makes them attractive. Don't say that it's okay because it's not marketed or designed primarily for women. right? And then overlook the fact that it's appealing to women. Just because it's not overtly made with us in mind doesn't mean that it's not appealing to us. In the case of Fabio, he was definitely playing on the fact that women find him handsome and like to see him half-dressed and hugging another woman on a cover. That's how he made his career until he got older. But again, my point is that don't fall into this, oh, we can have this double standard of, attractive, sexy, masculine men, but we can't do the same for the women because, oh, the male characters aren't made for women in mind, and the female characters are made for men to look at, and that's somehow demeaning. Believe it or not, women do like male attention. At least with women who like men like male attention. Maybe we don't like it all the time. Yes, there are times where a man can show attention when it's inappropriate. I've been hit on the train numerous times. But in general, we like male attention. So don't take those more male-oriented designs away from the men and the women who like them. Okay, I'm not going to say that I speak for all women, but please, don't try to argue that this is meant to protect me, right? Please don't argue that this is okay because it's no longer demeaning. For the most part, I didn't find it demeaning. Okay, maybe tacky at times, maybe lacking imagination at times, but not demeaning. There's only one game I can think of that I've ever heard of that I ever thought was sincerely demeaning toward a woman. That is Custer's Revenge. So long as we're not talking about that, you don't have to worry about offense. Right? Because if you take these female designs away, then guess what? What are women gonna dress up as for cosplay? Women like looking sexy. Women like being the center of male attention. Again, perhaps more on our own terms, but we do like it. So in closing, I would like to say that if designs like this, and designs like this, and designs like this are okay, if it is okay to have these hyper-masculine designs, then, in my opinion, to be fair, to be truly equal, and to be fun, then guess what? We also need to say that it is okay for the women to look like this. And this. And this. Never thought I'd feature Sable in a positive light for anything. Anyway, my point being is that if women can have the hypermasculine, right? If it's okay for a male character to be hypermasculine, then it is okay for a female character to be hyperfeminine. It is okay for her to have large breasts and beautiful long hair and thick legs. If this is okay, and then if we're truly meant to be equal, then this has to be okay also. Now, am I saying that they only have to have this costume? No, of course not. It's a Street Fighter. They have multiple costumes. Am I saying that every character, every male needs to look hyper-exaggerated like this and every woman has to look hyper-exaggerated like this? No. But we should not take either option off the table. Ideally, in my personal opinion, characters should look how they should look. So some are going to look like this. Some are going to look like this. Right? Some are going to look like Sable, and some are going to look more like Fabio, right? Some are going to look like the Adventurer, some are going to look like the Dungeon Master, and everything else in between. So all I'm asking for is let designers let the character artist do what they like. If this is a good design for a particular character, use it. If this is a good design for a particular character, use it. If this is a good design for a particular character, use it. If this is a good design for a particular character, use it. If this is a good design for a particular character, use it. But please, stop playing this. It's respectful toward the women to have them dress down, right? To remove looks like this while permitting men to have looks like that. Okay? You can't take this away and then say it's okay for the men to still look like this. That's not fair. That's not equal. There are women who want to look like this. There are men who want to look like this. There are men and women who find this very sexy and appealing. There are men and women who find this very sexy and appealing. Okay? Appeal to both sides of your audience. Don't tone down one, but then favor the other. That is all I'm saying. That is all I'm asking. So I shall end this video with my wrath. So I hope I explained myself, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Like it, hate it, don't care. Let me know. Have a good night, everybody. Or at least a good night here in New York City. Bye.